ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Om Shri Sai Ram. Million salutations at the lotus feet of our dear Lord, respected elders and dear brothers and sisters. A very warm welcome and loving Sai Ram to each one of you who is present here for the new Guru's training, the Sri Satya Sai Bal Vikas Guru's training. This year we are doing it in a hybrid mode. Today we are doing it online from 2 to 5, and tomorrow we meet at Dharmakshetra for the second half of the training. So without wasting further time, we go into the first topic, and we are most blessed to have the National Mahila Coordinator for Education, Sister Kamla Pandya, with us today to deal with the first topic, that is Introduction to Sri Satya Sai Bal Vikas and the qualities of an ideal Bal Vikas Guru. Now, Srimati Kamla Pandya is a practicing advocate from Mumbai, and she took to the study of law under the directions from Bhagwan Baba. She is a 3-time gold medalist. The first gold medal was after graduating in psychology from the Bombay University. The second in jurisprudence from the Bombay University again. And the third in education and human values from Bhagwan's hands in Prashanti Nilayam. Her marriage to our respected AIP sir, Sri Nimish Pandya, was solemnized by Bhagwan in the interview room in Prashanti Nilayam. Over to you, Sister Kamla.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Today, we are all blessed here and happy to have joined in the new Guru's training. There are some points I would like to speak before I talk about the topic proper. The first is that the purpose of this new Guru's training is an 8-week observation. So you will all who have ventured today have to attend 8 Saturdays or 8 Thursdays or 8 Sundays, observing a class going on in Bal Vikas under the guidance of an experienced guru. This will be for 8 weeks. After the 8 weeks, you can take on a 1-year training under the trained guru, and that will include observation and even conduction of a section of the class. So you may take even a story or just play a game or sing a song with the children, and that will be the next 1 year's program before you can be a trained guru. The purpose of Bal Vikas is the personality development of the child at all the levels of growth: physical, mental, intellectual, psychic, social, psychological, and spiritual. Without much waste of time, we'll go to the qualities of the Guru. And for understanding the qualities of the Guru, we have to understand the ABC of life. The ABC of life is when you go to school, you learn the first letter at the ABC of life. So when you go to Bal Vikas, the first ABC that you learn is the qualities of the Guru. Next, Deepa. The ABC is that every Guru must be at the group 1 like a child with the other children. Then as she goes to group 2, she must be cheerful. And at the group 3 stage, she must be cautious. So the group 1, the guru will be childlike, play like the child. At the group 2, she will be cheerful and happy like the child. At the group 3, she will train the child to be cautious and she herself will be cautious. Then we come to the next letter. Don't ever lose faith in God. Every guru must practice this. Never lose faith in God or in Baba or in any spiritual growth is dependent upon our love for Swami. And we must be like Gaurang, the Chaitanya Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, and like Gaurang, who all the time recite the name of the Lord. So every Bal Vikas guru must venture upon reciting the name of the Lord. In any moment that you are free, you must recite the name of the Lord. Let's go on to the next. We must practice G, the God feeling in us. And for that, I have a beautiful story. You must remember that God exists. There are 19 horses that a man had, and he wanted to will it away to his son, servant, and someone else. So he called the advocate and asked the advocate to prepare a will. The advocate said, "Tell me, sir, how you want to distribute these 19 horses?" The old man said, "Very simple. 19 horses, give half the horses to my son Raju. Then 1/5 of my horses to my servant Ramu, who looks after me. And 1/4 of my horses to the trust in Dharmakshetra, where I spend my evenings in the bhajan." So the advocate said, "Very simple, I'll make the will." So she made the will and she gave it to the testator to sign it in the presence of 2 witnesses, and the matter was closed. After a few days, the old man passed away, and the will was opened by the executor. And the first thing the executor saw was to distribute half the horses to my son. What is 1/5, half of 19? Half of 19, you can put in the chat box. Half of 19 is, what is half of 19? Chat box, you can put it. Yes, 9.5, Akshay, that's great. And 1/5 of the horses to Ramu the servant and 1/4 to Dharmakshetra. So, but there's a mistake in the first. How can I cut the horse into 9.5? What will I do with it? So the executrix was scratching her head and said, the advocate has made a mistake. Now what do we do? And they were thinking like that when another old man came on his horseback and stood and said, "What is happening? Why are you all so upset?" He said, "No, nothing. There's a mistake in the will and we don't know how to rectify it." He said, "What is it?" The advocate has written on the will that 1/2 of the horses have to be given to the son Raju. Half of 19 is 9.5. So how do we do that? So the old man said, "Don't worry. Bring all the 19 horses and make them stand in a line." So they all stood in a line. The horses were brought and stood in a line. And he got on from his horse, the 20th horse, and added that. And he said, "Now distribute." So 19 plus 1 becomes 20. Half of 20 is 10. So give those 10 to Raju. 1/5 goes to Ramu. So 1/5 of 20 is 4. So 4 goes to Ramu. And 1/4 of 20 is 5. And then 5 goes to Dharmakshetra. And he sat on his horse and was going away. When the advocate said, wait, sir, what did you do?" Very simple, ma'am. Whenever you are in problem, whenever you are faced with problem, add the 20th horse in your life. The 20th horse stands for grace of God. And you will do well when you practice this, that believe that God exists and grace is always with you. So with this, we must remember that as Bal Vikas Gurus, we must first experience God in our life, and then we can expect the children to follow us. The next letter we go to, the next objective of the Guru is to practice H, the three HVs. That is head, hand, and heart. Remember the traffic signal. And remind the child also the traffic signal. When you reach a traffic signal and it's red, you stop. So whenever thought comes to your mind, you stop. Then you wait for a little while, and that is pause. When the color of the traffic signal changes from red to orange, it tells you, hurry, get up, wake up, and be ready to move. And then as the signal turns from red to orange, orange to green, you move on. So remember, even the children must be trained. The Guru must train the children first, and whenever a thought comes to your mind, stop. Then take the approval of the heart. And once the heart says yes, then you proceed. Then that is what we have to learn from the traffic signal. This was taught to me by a Bal Vikas student who told me that, ma'am, whenever we have thoughts in our mind, the first color that we must do is stop. Then you must pause and understand whether God will approve of it or not. And yes, if it is yes, then you move on to the green. The next important story that we must all bear in our mind is happiness. We must be like the balloon which flies high and never have a dull moment in your life. So we must always be like the balloon flying high in life. Next goes on to I. To practice the value of truth, we must, as Bal Vikas Gurus, train the children first to adhere to intuition and intellect. Because remember the IIT, intuition and intellect helps the child to practice truth. So we must also first practice in ourselves the importance of intellect and intuition. Because intuition is the voice of God from within. And this comes with meditation. We come to the next letter that the Guru must practice is J. Judicious mix of all the margas. We must practice bhakti, seva and jnana. Devotion, service and knowledge. All the three bhakti margas must be passed like a judicious mix of belpuri or of sambar. We must use all the margas in equal amounts so that once we find that the children are growing, they will understand the importance of education, of service, and of devotion. We move on to the next K. We must kindle the light of Dhyan. Every morning we must practice 2 minutes of silent sitting. If we expect the children to follow silence, then we must first put it in our lives. This morning I heard Dr. Jashan Vaswani telling about the importance of Dhyan. When you get up in the morning, the first thing is close your eyes and concentrate on the God which you have in your heart, and practice this meditation throughout the day. At least the beginning of the day, you must practice 2 minutes of silence, and then you must start with positivity. I will tell you the positive sentences as I come to it later. So for the time being, we have to practice dhyana or meditation for 2 minutes, taking that light to every part of your body and bringing it to rest in the heart finally. Next, we move on to L. This is what Swami had taught me as a guru. When I got married, Swami gave us an interview, and that time I asked him, Swami, what should I do? At that time, I was a teacher. So Swami said, love and law. I was wondering, how can Swami say love and law? What does he mean? So I kept saying, Swami, but I am a teacher. I know, but you must do love and law. And then when I went back home, I understood suddenly one day what Swami meant by love and law. Love is my Bal Vikas and law is discipline in life. So we must also, as Bal Vikas gurus, practice love for the children and for Bal Vikas and law and discipline in our life. Next, we move to the next point, that is M. I was talking about the three margas have to be practiced in our life. We move on, which are the three margas, the Dhyana Marg, the Bhakti Marg and the Seva Marg. Just move to the next slide. You will see these three vowels are there in the Marga. The first in Bal Vikas, we have not only B, L, V, K, that is the consonant. We also have the vowels. The first letter vowel is A in Bal, B-A-L. And A is appointment with God, Bhakti Marga. I, the second V-I, V-I, inward journey, Jnana Marga. And next, again, is an A, action without expectation of fruit. So we have, therefore, to practice Jnana Marg, Bhakti Marg, and Karma Marg. When I remember once one of the children who I was teaching Bal Vikas to, I had taught him that he must come to class on time. Our class was at 5 o'clock every Saturday evening. And this child would merrily walk into the class at 5:15, 5:20 and say, Sai Ram, and then sit down. And I would say, why are you so late? Auntie, I'm tired. So I was wondering how to do. So I said, see, whenever you come to this class, remember, it's an appointment with God. God is always there. And whenever you put good thoughts in the child, God helps you. So that time, when I was saying this, the telephone bell rang. In Bombay, we don't have the school bells ringing, but we have the telephone bells ringing in every home, especially in a lawyer's home. So I said, see, Swami has already come. He's telling us, asking us whether you all are in class. So the child believed that what I'm speaking was the truth. So next time he came a little early, he came 10 to 5. And I said, how come you're early? He said, no, because ma'am, you said no, Swami comes to the class, so I've come early. And like this it went on. And one day he came at 4:30. I said, you're so early today? He said, auntie, you don't know, today's second Saturday. There was no traffic on the road. And we came zoom. And that's why I've come. Even Swami has come early. And that is why at 4:30 the telephone bell is ringing. So this is how even the child believes your word as the gospel truth. We must also practice the inward journey. Every night before going to bed, we must practice this inward journey and ask ourselves, have we been a better person today than what I was yesterday? Is there any change I can bring about in myself? And the last important, that is Jnana Marg. And the last important is the Karma Marg. We must serve without being worried about the fruit of the action. We must give up Nishkama Seva. It should be our way of life. We go on to the next. Then still one more in M we have is marriage. What we have to practice in Bal Vikas is that we have to first understand and then adjust. Just like in marriage, Swami told that you must first understand each other and then adjust. Then only you will have a successful marriage. So Bal Vikas also, the children must be taught to first understand and then adjust. So this is important for every guru, that in her life she must first understand the philosophy of Baba and then adjust. Then life will be much easier. N. The next letter N is, one more M is there, money. Swami always tells us that money comes and money goes, but morality comes and morality grows. So we must be cautious as Bal Vikas gurus to not go after money, because money is like a shoe. If your foot is size 6, then you must wear the shoe of size 6, not 7. If you wear the shoe of size 5, it will bite you. If you wear size 7, it will make you trip. So the shoe must be of the right size. So we must, Bal Vikas gurus must practice right conduct. We go on to N, that is never, never, never give up. Once Winston Churchill was called to give a lecture to his alma mater. So all the students had gathered and they were tired of hearing speeches one after the other. And the last speech was that of Winston Churchill. He said, I will speak only 6 words and that's all. So everyone wondered, how can a politician speak only 6 words and sit down? He said, 6 words and no more. Never, 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 never. Only 4, still 2 more to go. Give up. So never, 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 never give up. Bal Vikas Guru must never give up the practice of Bal Vikas in her life. Because by becoming a Bal Vikas Guru, she first improves herself before she can improve the children. We must practice that at the Kal Ho Na Ho. We have to practice Bal Vikas in our lives first. Then we go on to O. Be optimistic in your life. And here I'm reminded of Jashan, Dr. Jashan telling us about when we get up, we must practice 10 sentences every morning. I am a happy being. I am a healthy being. I am a strong being. I am a sincere being. Healthy, happy, strong, sincere. And then I must be go on like this, keep on saying positive sentences. I'm a good being. I'm a happy being. I'm a strong being. I'm a sincere being. This, if you keep on practicing, you will automatically find that your life improves. So remember, always keep positivity as your way of life. Next, we go on to practice. Swami says that every guru must first practice before she can tell. Before we can tell others, we have to be and do and then tell. And we have to practice the importance of prayer. Here I'm reminded of a beautiful story of a divorcee who came to me for taking a divorce petition. So I told her, why do you want to go for divorce? She said, my husband wants it. I said, okay, you just give it to him and wait for 6 months and do what I'm saying. So she said, ma'am, whatever, I don't want this divorce to go through. So what I said, you said, you have to prayerize. You have to every day pray, Swami, don't let this divorce take place. You have to picturize the happy moment that you all spent together, and it will actually happen. Because prayer is pray until something happens. That is what the story of push means. I'll tell you the story later, but let me finish this divorce petition. So we filed a petition, and in Bombay, for a mutual consent, where we don't have to wash each other's dirty linen in public, we just say that we can't get along and we want to separate. So there is a 6-month waiting period. So this lady had to wait for 6 months. Now, for example, if filed it in January, we have to wait till June to get the petition sanctioned by the court. But I told her that as you wait for the 6 months, you keep on picturizing the happy moments and keep on praying that you all are happy together, and this will actualize. It happened like this, the 6 months passed, and it was now time for June. And the divorce was to go through. So we were going to the court, and I told her, continue your prayer, don't give up. And we went there, and at that time, when the court read out the name of the petitioners, both were called to the court, and the husband got up and said, I don't want this divorce. So everybody was ajar. What happened? 6 months you waited for now to say no? He said, my wife whom I wanted to marry, the lady whom I wanted to marry, has refused to come and live with me. And so I don't want to continue. So therefore, the story, what I told her, prayerize happy times together, picturize happy times together. Pray that this divorce doesn't go through and it will actualize. The other story that I have to say with prayer is push. Once a Guruji told his disciple to push the stone on the road till it moves. So every day the man would come and push the stone, but not a movement took place. So the Guruji was surprised that there's no movement. So he called his disciple one and said, what happened? The disciple said, sir, I can't move that stone. He said, push. So the boy went back and started pushing. Again he came back and said, nothing is moving. So the Guru said, pray until something happens. I told you to push. Push means pray until something happens. So we also have to keep on praying till something happens. Remember, prayerize, pray, picturize the good moment and actualize it. Push until something happens. Q. Q is quietude. We must always practice silence as a way of life. because only the depth of silence and the voice of God can be heard. We cannot expect the children to be quiet if we keep on jabbering. So the first thing that the Guru has to do is to reduce the jabber of the mind and of the tongue. Then only we can practice it. Another important thing that we have to keep in mind is the question. Whenever we have a question, we should ask and verify with our gurus. Well, what is the answer to this? If the Guru cannot answer, she will also tell you, don't worry, I will find out and come back next week and explain to you what is the answer. You don't have to answer immediately, but you have to make an attempt because the question may be for your welfare also. Then we come to R. Be a right leader, be forthright. That's from the beginning I've been telling you that you must be righteous and every guru must be forthright. You cannot tell anything to the child because the children of today's period are very smart. So we have to be forthright and be a right leader. Then we come to S. The Seva, and S stands for practice this Balvikas as a Seva, as a way of life, as a service, and practice silence. And remember, the organization is Sri Satya Sai Seva Organization. Start the day with silence, the first day. Fill the day with study, read holy literature, and end the day with audit, self-audit or silence again. And then that will take you to the organization. Then only you can plunge into Seva. So remember, first start the day with silence, fill the day with self-study, third, end the day with self-audit, and then merge into Seva, and that will be the purpose of this organization. So service to man is service to God. Help the needy and you will be helping God. Next, T is transformation. Practice this T to the tilt because transformation is important, is the very purpose of the organization. You must not transform the world, you must transform yourself first. And remember, the children in your class are not your children. We all have the my children. That's not correct. We must have this policy that we are only trustees of these children. And remember once Swami came to put up Dharma Kshetra and asked us, me and Nimish, how many children do we have? We said, Swami, you know everything. So Swami said, how many? So we said, none. Don't say none. What are these 3,000? These are not your children. These are your Prema Putra. So that is how we must consider our Balvika children to be our Prema Putra. But those born out of your womb are Kama Putra. We must also practice the techniques of Balvika, which is 5 important techniques of Balvika. Prayer, silent sitting, silent sitting. Then we have Japa and Dhyan, that is silent sitting. What else is it? Can anybody tell me?
Storytelling.
Storytelling, group singing, and group activity. So prayer, storytelling, group activities, group singing, and silent sitting. And the training of the Balikas is for 8 weeks. As I told you in the beginning, you have to observe the class for 8 weeks. And after that 1 year, you have to be under the guidance of a trained guru and can perform certain section of that Balvikas class once a week, maybe a story, maybe a bhajan, maybe a song or a quiz. And then only you can become a trained Balvika guru. Then we come to you. We all have to practice unity of thought, word, and deed. Thought, word, and action. This is an importance of every Balvika guru. There must be unity of thought, word, and action. Then only can we have an important point in our life, that is of being integrated. We also must remember that U stands for understanding. So each of us must understand one another and then only adjust. Not only in your personal life, but also in your social life, you must first understand and then adjust. The next important is the values V, which are universal, which are a part of Bal Vikas. The 5 important values which you must share with the children: Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa. Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa must be practiced, because that love which emanates from the heart must fill our tongue and our thoughts, which leads to truth, must enter into our action, which leads to dharma, must enter into our feeling, which involves peace, and must enter into our understanding, which is non-violence. So love as thought is truth, love as action is dharma, love as feeling is peace, love as understanding is non-violence. Now we come to X. W. I've forgotten my alphabet. Watch yourself. We must watch ourselves. Watch our words, actions, thought, character, and heart. Look inside always. We must always look inside. That means we must practice dhyana every moment of the day. Whenever we get in trouble, we must learn to look inside and see what is the right way to follow. And then we come to X, which is exercise. Bal Vikas is an exercise of excellence. It's a journey of excellence, from good to better, from better to best. We must keep on, Gurus, improving ourselves first. Am I a better person today than what I was yesterday? Am I good today than I was yesterday? And am I the best today? Is what we should follow. So we must all practice an exercise of excellence. That must be a goal in life. And then we come to Y. Bal Vikas is a yeoman service. Next one is a yeoman service that you can render. I remember Swami telling me once, I said, Swami, I'm only doing Bal Vikas. What is this? Why are you giving me so much? At my wedding, he showered me with a lot of grace. I said, why are you doing all this for me? He said, तुम मेरा बाल विकास चलाती, मैं इतना नहीं कर सकता हूँ तेरे लिए. That is the way he wants us to practice. A yeoman service. We must remember it's the last effort that we must put in. We may not have a tomorrow. Kal ho na ho. So we must have the next important aspect of the alphabet, that is zeal. We must rise up to the greatest heights with Bal Vikas. You must be devoted to Bal Vikas, and you must make it a way of your life. Only then can you find others improving as you have improved yourself. Your demeanor must reflect Bal Vikas in every aspect. You must be honest, truthful, and sincere in your devotion. And now one thing you must practice is that whenever I go to the class, I don't go there and say, what should I tell the children? I must be prepared to enter the class. Prepared with a story, prepared with a shloka. Everything must be ready with, so the child can be happy when he comes to the class. Let me sing with you a song on Bal Vikas. B for blessings, count them now. A for Ananda, the grace. L for love that flows from in. V for values, one and all. I for integration. K for knowledge of the soul. A for Ananda, that bliss that will bring us back to Balvikas. That will bring us back to SAI. So remember, Bal Vikas must be a way of life. जब से मैंने साई पाया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. जब से मैंने साई पाया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. इस जहां की बुराइयों से मुझे छुड़ाया प्यार दे. तब से दिल, मेरा मन, मेरी काया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम राह दिखाया, चलना सिखाया. तब से दिल, मेरा मन, मेरी काया, मेरा जीवन बदल गया. मेरा जीवन बदल बदल गया. So this must be our way of life. That once we have joined the fold of Sai, we must improve ourselves continuously so that there is unity of thought, word, and action. TWA, remember the airline that used to fly once upon a time through India. Thought, word, and action must be united. Then only will there be peace in your being, peace in your soul, peace in your entire understanding. Remember, this is the way of life, and we must keep on practicing till we reach the goal of zeal, of yeoman service, of excellence. That must be the goal of Balmika. This is only a short introduction of the values that the Guru must have. We can keep on adding on the qualities of the Guru, but there's much more to be done. This will be only practiced when doing it. As you do Balmika, you'll understand that you can improve yourself first. Only then will there be peace in your life. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you so much, Sister Kamra, for that wonderful presentation. And I'm sure all the attendees here will be trying their best from today onwards to inculcate these values in themselves. And as you rightly said, it is only by sheer practice that we can imbibe these values. And I'm sure this has been a very wonderful opening to our New Gurus training program. Thank you so much once again. And we'll now go on to the second topic, and that is the qualities of the Balmika's child with respect to our Swami's childhood. And for that, we have a very senior Guru with us, Roshan Panibandati. She has written 2 small booklets, which we all take in our classes on the life and childhood of Bhagwan. And she has been a guiding light to all of us in Maharashtra West Fund as far as Balmikas is concerned. So now I invite Roshan Aunty to take up the talk.
Sai Ram, are we audible?
Yeah,
Sai
yeah,
Ram, are we audible?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Om Shri Sai Arpanam. A warm Sai Ram to everyone here. All the qualities that we are going to talk about today are offshoots of the 5 fundamental human values of Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa. While these are inborn, they have to be elicited and brought out into a child's behavior by the Balmika's Guru. Of course, we have a divine Guru who oversees this task and whose grace effects the blossoming of these values. Love is the undercurrent of all these values, and we will see this love exemplified in the childhood incidents that we will be touching upon.
Continue.
The foremost quality is Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. Revere the parents as your living gods. Now, when young Satya came home from school, he rarely spoke of what he was taught. Instead, he would speak of what he taught the children, and sometimes even the elders. Satya would tell the children, your mother has given you this body. Your father has fostered its growth, providing food and clothes. The parents have shared their blood, knowledge, wealth with you. They sacrifice many things. So love, serve, obey, and make them happy. Swami tells children, if you chant the Gayatri and also respect your parents as God, the two together will give brightness and effulgence to your life. Then we have Acharya Devo Bhava. For the teacher promotes one's intelligence and knowledge, making one a useful member of society. And Atiti Devo Bhava, revering the guest as God, being courteous and greeting guests with a namaskar according to our traditions. Swami always wanted that children learn good manners. Prayer is one of the first things a child learns at Balikas. When children pray, they strengthen their connect with God in their hearts. They are taught a number of universal prayers, such as Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, which means, may all beings in all the worlds be happy. To pray for the peace and happiness of everyone is the essence of prayer in our culture. Now we come to the injunctions. Satyam vada, dharmam chara. Speak truth and practice dharma. When the promptings of truth from our inner self are spoken, speaking truth, then put into action, it is dharma. Satya would instruct his playmates, always speak truth under all circumstances. Never cover up your faults due to the fear that your parents may reprimand you. It's fine if they do so. You must also know how truth should be spoken. Speak truth in such a way that it is pleasing and does not annoy or hurt others. Do not speak falsehood to flatter anyone. Satya and Dharma lead us on to the unity of thought, word, and deed, which we just heard about. True human nature consists of the unity between one's thought, words, and deeds. Gradually, children learn to imbibe this. Swami reminds us that merely having a human form does not make one human. It is by following this fundamental nature of unity in thought, word, and deed that man becomes truly human and fulfills his life. Do what you say. Do not say what you cannot do is a simple rule to follow. Balvika's children cultivate friendship with God early in life. God is our only real friend. All other friends are impermanent. They come and go. But God is a permanent friend who is always with us. A friend that even if we forget, never forgets us. The students were one day taking photos with Swami. After each student had his photo taken, he would go back to his place and another student would come. Swami said, see, all of you come and go, but I am here, permanent. Now we come to the inherent unity in faiths. Young Satya would tell the children, morality is more important than the mode of worship or religion. Give up differences. Live happily with the spirit of unity. At Urvakonda, Satya used to sing this prayer composed by him at the morning assembly. The Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis, Muslims, and Christians come to thy throne from east and west, making the garland of love. Hail to thee, who unites all humanity. So we see that Satya was fostering the unity of religions right from his childhood. All Valdika's children are acquainted with the truth that there is only one religion, the religion of love, one caste, the caste of humanity, one language, the language of the heart, and only one God who is omnipresent. What are the roots or the essence of all religions? Yes, the 5 human values that we talked about in the beginning are the essence of all religions. They are the pillars of Sanatana Dharma and the essence of the Sai principle. Now, for a few glimpses of Satya's selflessness, love, and service. Kondamaraju was the grandfather. His sons and a daughter were all living together. And so little Satya grew up in the midst of about 20 children. When the tailor came to make the clothes out of different types of colored cloth from the Bukapatnam market, all the children would excitedly rush forward to select what they liked. But Satya would be standing to one side, happy that the children around him were happy. When the mother urged him to take what he liked, he would say, "Let each one be given the cloth he selects. Whatever remains is good enough for me." Similarly, one day, Subama prepared dosas and called Satya to partake of them. But little Satya said, if she prepared dosas for all the children, then he would die. Even at the tender age, even at the tender age of 3 or 4, if a hungry or poor person without much clothing came to their house, little Satya would run inside and bring some clothes or food and give it to him, even though the family itself was quite poor. Ishwarana says he just had to relieve pain and suffering as soon as he saw it in anyone. Once a child in the street was shivering with cold, with no clothes on. Satya promptly removed his shirt and put it on the child. When Satya was staying with Sri Kondamaraju, he was just 8 years old. But every day he would get up early, wash the utensils, cook food, and then run in school in Bukapatnam, which was 2.5 miles away from Puttaparthi. When the lunch bell rang, Satya would come running back, serve food to the grandfather, eat some himself, and then run back to Bukapatnam. All the people in the street liked what Satya prepared. Often when Satya returned from school, there would be a line of people suffering from fever, waiting with their tumblers for the pepper rasam prepared by Satya. After partaking of it, they would be satisfied, saying their fever had gone. No doubt, this was the beginning of Narayan Seva. Satya was 10 years old when he attended the high school at Urvakonda, staying with his elder brother. I'm sorry, at Kamalapuram. He was staying at Kamalapuram with his elder brother. There was scarcity of water there, and it was difficult to get drinking water. So little Satya had to draw water several times a day from a well nearly a kilometer away and carry it in huge earthen pots back to the family. He would be busy with this till 9 a.m. when he left for school. Later, when he returned to Puttaparthi, Ishwarama noticed a mark on his left shoulder and asked Satya about it. Satya just smiled and said it was perhaps due to the water pots hung on both ends of the pole on his shoulders. Satya said, "Mother, I carry the waters of life gladly." And now we come to the famous scout trip, exemplifying qualities like simplicity, forbearance, and understanding. One day, the scout master announced that they were all going to attend the annual festival at Pushpagiri, where they would render service to the people. Now, Satya neither had the money for a scout uniform nor the bus fare. As Sri Venkapalaju, the father, could not afford much, Satya did not like to ask him for the money. Unlike children of today, Satya did not have dozens of clothes. He just had one pair of shorts and a shirt, which he washed daily after returning from school. He used to iron his clothes using a live coal in a brass pot, which you can see here, and then set the creases under a heavy trunk for the night. Ramesh, a classmate of Satya, wanted to gift him a scout uniform. But Satya did not accept it and lovingly explained to him, "The giving and taking of gifts spoils friendship. True friendship must be from heart to heart." So, on some pretext, Satya avoided the bus and quietly walked the 9 miles to Pushpagiri. At Pushpagiri, Satya, who was also the leader of the scout troop, immediately plunged wholeheartedly into the work allotted to him and the rest of the scouts, despite not having eaten for 2 days. They supplied people with drinking water, looked after the cleanliness of the place, restored lost children to their parents. In fact, it was only to inspire the boys to render selfless service that he went to Pushpagiri at all. Now, as Satya had been away for 8 days, there had been no water in the house, and the family had to undergo a lot of hardship. Thus, when Satya reached home, the elder brother vented his pent-up anger on him, hitting him with the ruler he was using. Shortly after this, the father visited Kamalapuram. He was very concerned about Satya's swollen hand. He asked Satya to return to Puttaparthi, where life would not be so hard. Satya softly and sweetly told the father he would come later, that right now the family needs him. Besides, if he left suddenly, people might talk, and that would reflect badly on the family's good name. In later years, Swami used to tell his students never to speak anything outside that would bring down the honor of their family. Now, here we should understand that the elder brother was only playing his role in the story of the Sai Avatar. Without such incidents, how would young Satya have been able to set an example? The quality of kindness to animals is very important for children. How much Swami loved animals is evident from this picture. Right from his childhood, Swami could not tolerate the killing or ill-treating of animals, as you can see. In those days, it was the custom to hold bullock cart races. The bullocks used to be whipped or their tails twisted to make them run faster. Similarly, there would be cockfights where the cocks would get injured. Satya would tell the children never to watch these and to tell their fathers not to indulge in these activities. Satya would say, instead, be competitive in doing good deeds and not in such cruel acts. Once, an English officer who was a big game hunter had gone hunting in the forests on the other side of the Chitravati River, where he shot a tiger. Swami later instructed him sternly to go back, get the little cubs who are hungry and crying, and give them to a zoo where they will be looked after. Baba instructed him, from now on, shoot animals only with your camera. The Englishman discovered that hunting with a camera was even more challenging, and it was certainly a more peaceful, non-violent, and virtuous way to live. Swami tells the children, the school and home are places where we learn to develop kindness and forbearance. He would say, in the school I went to, I was full of love for all the children. I never took part in groupism. I never belonged to any group as children do today. He would say, do not make another boy or girl sad by your actions. Always be sweet, loving, and cheerful. Children also learn the value of silence and serenity. Swami tells them, be silent for a little while every day. Learn to be calm when something happens in the way you do not like. Gratitude is a very important quality. It is a divine quality. Once, Baba, along with a group of devotees, was staying at Hostel Hills. There was a buffalo who used to transport water for them many times a day from the hamlets below. in skin bags slung across its back. Before leaving, Baba quietly went to the buffalo and patting it affectionately said, "You have done a good service, Bangaru." Baba notices and appreciates even the tiniest act of service. Now we come to the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which are divine manifestations. The 5 elements that build the entire cosmos are contained in the human body and sustain human life. We cannot live for a moment without them. Children must revere the elements with gratitude and know how to make proper use of them. They must understand that balance in human life and balance in nature go hand in hand. A child must understand his connect with nature. Swami says, the child or the individual, Vyashti, is a part of society, Samashti. The society, Samashti, is a part, a limb of nature, Srishti. Nature, Srishti, is a limb of God, Parmeshti, from which it has emerged. Thus, children have to realize their own connect with the 5 elements. Now we come to the 5 Ds and we see how the 5 Ds play out in a child's life. Duty or dedication, devotion, discipline, discrimination, determination. The duty of a child is to obey and respect his parents and to study well. Swami tells children, whatever activity you undertake, dedicate it to God. All the powers in your body are the gifts of God. In fact, divinity pervades every inch, every cell, and every atom of your body. Devotion, or pure, selfless love for God, is the second. It blossoms in children through all the components of the Balvikas class. Prayer, devotional singing, stories, japa and silent sitting, all of them which we heard about and which we are going to see in detail tomorrow. The Pandari Bhajan group, which Swami formed at the age of 10, was to instill devotion into the children. This was the beginnings of Nagar Sankirtan. Now, discipline should become a habit in our day-to-day life, in a child's day-to-day life, in a natural manner. The discipline of sealing on desires, which we will speak about now, benefits not only the individual, but the society and the world. Now, as Swami says, life is a limited company. It means that all our legitimate desires cannot expand indefinitely. There have to be limits set for all desires. The 4 areas in which children practice this discipline are food, time, energy, and money. In fact, they even keep a little diary in which to record if they have used these resources wisely and not wasted them. Now, food, which should never be wasted. Annam Brahma, it is said. Food is God. Children should recognize the hand of God even in a tiny grain of rice. For all the elements come together to make that grain. The sun, soil, water, air, and also the energy and the toil of the farmer. Once, a little child from the primary school was putting away his plate after eating. Swami saw a number of rice grains in it, and pointing to each grain, Swami said, "See, Brahma, 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 Brahma." Time too is gone. Kalaya Namaha. When we waste time, we are wasting life. As Swami says, the present is omnipresent, and we should not waste it by brooding over the past and worrying over the future. The present has the aspect of the past in it, and the seed of the future also. Thus, Swami says, present is omnipresent. Energy, we should conserve it by talking less and by not wasting water and electricity. In this connection, we have 2 little examples. One day, when Swami came outside, his eyes were a little red. The students were curious. Swami told them, "I was washing my face. My eyes were closed, and as I was trying to locate the tap to turn on the water, a little soap must have got into my eyes." The message was clear. Don't leave the water running while you wash your face or hands. We know that Swami always switched off the lights and fan himself when leaving the interview room. And last, misuse of money is evil. Children should know the difference between needs and desires. And now we come to discrimination. It is discrimination that sets man apart from other creatures. We have to constantly discriminate before doing anything and ask ourselves, is this good or bad? Is it right or wrong? As Swami says. Children too have to be taught to apply the same discrimination. Would my parents like it if I do this? Would God like it? They have to develop the self-confidence to be different if necessary and follow their conscience. We have to develop also fundamental discrimination, which takes into account what would be good and beneficial for society as a whole. And now, determination. Swami says, when you want to achieve anything, you must have the determination and persistence to secure it by all your efforts. Sister Kamla spoke about that determination in connection with the Balvikas just now. No room should be given for doubts and hesitation. There is nothing which cannot be achieved with firm determination. What we need is resoluteness, not resolutions. One day, the deer in a forest held a meeting to pass a resolution that henceforth none of them would be afraid of the hunting dogs. They all cheered and clapped. Suddenly, loud barking was heard. In a trice, they all ran away. All religions proclaim Deho Devalaya. The body is a moving temple, and the indweller is God. So, the body must be kept pure and sacred through good conduct and good company. Guard the five senses so that all their inputs are sattvic and pure, as befitting the appellation of temple used for the body. Sense control is important for everyone. The eyes, for instance, should be directed towards good things. Let the eyes enjoy the beauties of nature. Let them enjoy reading good books, seeing inspiring films on the lives of saints, good and great people that inspire us. In this context, we may recall how Satya would not allow the children to watch the talkie picture shows that came to the village, saying they willfully drag down ideals and values. Yes, they should listen to good things about others. Accounts relating to the divine, good music, and things like that. The nose should be used to inhale sweet scents and pure, clean air, fresh air. The hands should be used for good actions. Now the tongue. The tongue is the most important of all. If we can control the tongue, the other senses will easily come under control. There are 4 lapses to guard against: talking too much, speaking untruth, telling tales, and criticizing. Satya in his childhood, and even later, it was most appropriate, was called Mittabhashi, one of limited talk, and Mittahari, one of limited food. And now, last of all, but not the least, we come to self-confidence. Children should know that self-confidence is the very foundation of life. Without self-confidence, one cannot achieve victory in anything. After developing self-confidence, one will acquire self-satisfaction. Then comes self-sacrifice, and after that alone is self-realization achieved. The word self denotes the Atma. Now we say, after self-confidence, one will acquire self-satisfaction. That is to say, the satisfaction of the conscience. Then comes self-sacrifice. That is to say, giving up all that comes in the way of self-realization, the realization of the Atma as our real self. Now, Swami gives a little example to the children in this context. He tells them, if a little bird perches on a small branch of a tree, and the branch moves to and fro on account of the weight of the bird, the bird is not perturbed because it does not depend on the branch for its safety. It depends on its own wings. Even if the branch were to break, the little bird, who has confidence in its own wings, will be fearless, and he will simply fly away. Let's go back. If self-confidence is fostered in a child, he will be able to follow his heart and conscience in all aspects of life and fulfill the purpose of life. Sai Ram, thank you so much.
Sai Ram Roshan Aunty, thank you so much for that wonderful detailed presentation on the qualities of the Guru, which was time to time connected with the childhood of Bhagwan. So I'm sure all the people here have understood what qualities the children should have and how it has to be imbibed by the children. And your two booklets will be of great help to all the Gurus who are taking this training. So thank you so much once again. And we now move on to the next topic. Yes, we now move on to the next topic, which is on prayers. Because this, as was told to you in the first talk, we have 5 teaching techniques. 4 of them will be demonstrated tomorrow at Dharmakshetra. But we are taking the first one, that is prayers. And for that, we have Sister Priya Mitpuri, who is formerly the Vice Principal of the Arts Section of Jai Hind College. She is the District Education Coordinator for District 1 from Mumbai and the case of Maharashtra, West 1. And also the Mahila Coordinator of 4th Pulika Samiti. And she is very actively engaged in school balance. Over to you, Priya.
Om Shri Sai Ram. The topic is prayer, which is a salvation. It's a pathway to God. Prayer and Namasmaran. Deepak, you share.
I'm sharing. Tell them to put the video on that.
It's not being shared.
Video is not shared. Video is muted over there.
Please ask them to unmute Devi,
Mute video.
the video.
And Priya.
Naveen.
Auntie Sairam, the video is open for Priya Auntie.
Deepak, you can share now.
He's saying it's open.
Not showing on the screen.
Can share the screen.
1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prayer, the pathway to salvation. Prayer and Namasmaran are very important. And as Swami has said, The Namasmaran is remembering God's name, chanting God's name. We can do it at any time. It does not require any special time. And while prayer is talking to God, meditation is listening to God. Namasmaran is a spiritual practice. God has a million names. You can take any name, any form, meditate on the form. And as I told you, this can be done while you're eating, while you're walking, just before you go to sleep, in the morning when you get up, even when you're traveling, whether it's by train or plane or car or bus. But the name should be recited with love, with humility and reverence. And in the Kali Yuga, it can help you to attain salvation. We will now play a little video, which is on a little lighter note about prayer.
गन्नू, ये फिर से आ गई यार केमिस्ट्री। हमेशा वाट लगाती है। बस 35 दिला दो, पास करा दो, और कुछ नहीं चाहिए।
35? सिर्फ 35? अरे तेरे मेहनत के लिए तुझे ज्यादा मिलना चाहिए। ऐसी प्रार्थना क्यों कर रहे हो?
ഭഗവാനെ, എന്റെ മകൾക്ക് 25 വയസ്സായി. ഇതുവരെ അവളുടെ വിവാഹം നടന്നിട്ടില്ല. അവിടുന്ന് അനുഗ്രഹിക്കണേ. എത്രയും പെട്ടെന്ന് എന്റെ മകൾക്ക് ഒരു നല്ല വരനെ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചു തരണേ.
കാത്തിരിക്കൂ. പാവം. ആദ്യം നിന്റെ മക്കൾ അവളുടെ PhD ഒന്ന് തീർക്കട്ടെ. സമയത്തിൽ അവൾക്കൊരു നല്ല പുരുഷൻ വരും. എല്ലാം മംഗളമായി നടക്കും.
Lord Ganesha, my mom just told me to offer this to you. It's just grass. Anyway, here goes. I don't know what to ask you, but bless me, I guess.
Guess what? I'll always be with you, dear. Even if all you offer me is grass, I'll shower you with grace.
হে গণেশা, আমার ছেলে সব সময় আইপ্যাড দেখে, পড়ার সময়, খাওয়ার সময়। প্লিজ গণেশা, তুমি ওকে এই অ্যাডিকশন থেকে বার করে দাও। ওর যেন আর এই অ্যাডিকশন না থাকে। প্লিজ গণেশা, প্লিজ।
দেখো দেখো, কে বলছে অ্যাডিকশন দূর করার কথা? হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, আমি করব। আগে বলো, চলের আইপ্যাড এডিকशन दूर করব না তোমার মোবাইল এডিকशन दूर করব?
भगवान, हमारी कंपनी की ओर से हम हजारों लोगों का अन्नदान करते आए हैं। आज का डील 100 करोड़ का डील है। बस ये डील अगर पक्की हो गई तो मैं वादा करता हूँ कि और सेवा करूंगा, अन्नदान के साथ वस्त्रदान भी। प्लीज यार, 100 करोड़ का डील है।
सेवा त्याग होती है, कोई डील नहीं। मुझसे करोड़ों की आशा करते हो ताकि लाखों रुपए दान में खर्च करें। सेवा तुम्हारे उद्धार के लिए है, दूसरों के लिए नहीं।
Okay, so prayer is our greatest weapon. In fact, if you all remember the flight, Air India flight Kanishka, there were more than 300 people on board the flight. It crashed. And Swami said that even if one of them on board had chanted the Gayatri mantra, it would have saved the lives of all 300 plus people. That is the importance of prayer. How do we pray? That's very important. And when do we pray? It can be in the morning, it can be in the afternoon, it can be before saying or before having your meals, or it can be at night before going to sleep. When we're having our food, we have the Brahma Arpanam. This happened once in Puttaparthi in the boys' hostel. Baba went there and it was lunchtime. The children were ready to have their meals. And since Baba was there, when they were saying Brahma Arpanam, there was a little boy from the primary school who felt that if the Lord of the universe is here, why not go and directly offer the food to him? So he took his plate to Swami, and in that plate there was a vada. Swami very lovingly took a piece of the vada, and the boy was happy that Baba had accepted something from his plate, and he went back. Afterwards, Baba told the people who were standing near him that I took a chili from his vada because that chili would have troubled him. So when we offer the food to God, God sanctifies it. He removes all the negativity. He purifies the food and gives it back to us. God always responds in his own way. Sometimes we keep praying and God does not answer. Some prayers he says yes. Some he says wait. Others he may even say no. There was a gentleman who wanted to start some kind of sadhana, some kind of chanting, but he did not know what to do. So he thought he'd wait for Swami to give him an indication. The next day in the discourse, Swami spoke about the efficacy of the Gayatri mantra. So he said, oh, this is my cue. I must start chanting the Gayatri. So every night he would chant the Gayatri 108 times before going to sleep. And for a few weeks he waited, but he did not get any answer from Swami. Swami did not look in his direction. Swami did not smile. Swami did not go near him and talk to him. So after a few months, he said, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I should take another mantra. Maybe I should say Om Shri Sai Ram. That's shorter. I can do it faster. See the monkey mind, how it works. You want easy things. But then goodwill, good counsel prevailed. And he said, no, I will continue my Gayatri. So he continued his Gayatri every night before sleeping. He would chant the Gayatri 108 times and then go to bed. A few years later, please mark my words, it's not a few days or a few weeks or a few months. A few years later, he got a chance to do seva in Swami's veranda. So his bedding was there in Swami's veranda, outside Baba's bedroom. And one afternoon, Swami came out because he wanted to go to the other side of the veranda. And when he came near his bedding, he saw the japmala on his bed. So Swami bent down, picked up the japmala, and he said, whose is this? So the gentleman said, Swami, it's mine. Oh, so you're doing Gayatri 108 times every night before you sleep. Very good. So God responds in his own way at his own time. These are some quotations about prayer. If you never thank God for every smile, you have no right to blame him for every tear. God doesn't always change our situation, but he uses a situation to change us. That's how the transformation takes place, from self-transformation. Later on, it goes to transformation of others. God's grace is like a bank. You can draw grace only to the extent of your deposits of prayer, namasmarana, seva, and sacrifice. God has no phone, but you can still talk to him. He has no Facebook, but you can still be his friend. He does not have Twitter, but you can still follow him. While praying, don't give God instructions. Don't say, God, I want this, I want this, I want that, do this for me. Just report for duty. Because God has 4 gifts for you. A key for every problem, a light for every shadow, a plan for every tomorrow, and a joy for every sorrow. This is a prayer given by Swami. I am God, I am God. I am not different from God. I am Akhand Para Brahman. I am Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. Grief and anxiety cannot affect me. Fear cannot enter me. I am ever content. I am God. I am God. I am not different from God. So if the family says this together, this is the legacy which the parents will leave with their children when they leave the world. Now let's go on to the types of prayer. Individual prayer, where you pray for yourself or maybe for your family. Collective is when you're sitting in a temple or in a mosque or in a gurudwara when everyone is praying together. In individual prayer, what happens is that the vibrations come back to you. Whereas in collective prayer, the vibrations surround the entire, not only the area, but go beyond the area where you all are sitting. Then we have prayer of praise, where you praise Goddess Saraswati, you praise God. Prayer of faith, like when we're taking vibhuti. Swami says, take vibhuti, put it in a glass of water, stir it. Say your prayer. Have faith that that's going to help you, it'll cure you. And we know instances where vibhuti has even cancelled cancer. So that's a prayer of faith. Prayer of request, when you have a request, of course, we make a request, but ultimately we say, God, let thy will be done. Prayer of thanksgiving. Every morning when you get up, thank God for the dawn. Every night when you sleep, thank Him for a day which has been spent in serving the needy. And prayer for forgiveness. That's a prayer we teach the Bal Vikas children at night, Kara Charanam. So at night, do your self-audit and pray for whatever wrong which you've done. Not that, God, I've done this wrong, I don't know if I'll do it again. No, make a firm decision not to repeat whatever you have done which is wrong. The next slide is praying with your fingers. Now the 5 fingers give you an idea as to how you should pray. We'll zoom it a little so you can see. The thumb finger is the closest to you. So people who are closest to you, your family, pray for them first. Then go to the second, the index finger. The index finger is called the pointing finger. So those who point out, those who teach, those who instruct, you require them to give you the right direction. So pray to God so that they can always have wisdom to show direction to others. The third finger is the tallest finger. It reminds you of your leaders, those who are in government, those who are in positions of authority. Pray to God that they get sadbuddhi, that they can come out with the right rules and laws which will help the country to progress. The fourth finger is the ring finger, which is supposed to be the weakest finger. So we have to pray for the weak people, the sick people, those who have problems. So pray for the weak people in society. And the last finger is the pinky, the little finger, which is you. After you prayed for everyone, pray for yourself, because by then you will know what is your proper perspective and you'll be able to pray in a better manner. Those were the 5 fingers, and that's how the fingers help us to understand. Now, the power of prayer, prayerize. So when you're praying, pray properly. But when you're praying, also visualize. Supposing you're appearing for an exam, visualize that you're going to do well in the exam. At the end, when the results are out, visualize that the results have come out and everyone is congratulating you. Or if you have a difficult boss, visualize that your relation with your boss is improving. The boss is liking your work. So when you pray, also look at it from a visual point of view. Visualize what you are praying for, and it will lead to actualization. These are again certain quotations on prayer. Pray hardest when it is most difficult to pray. My prayer for you today is I pray that God would lift you up in His hand, comfort you with His love, wipe every tear from your eye, strengthen you to face the day. I pray that God would remind you that you're never alone. You are loved more than you could imagine by Him and by me. Now let's go on to the benefits of prayer. What are the benefits of prayer? First of all, prayer makes us calm and serene. If you see people who are very devout, those who pray, you will see a kind of a glow on their face, a radiant look on their face. So that is the feeling of calmness and serenity which you can see. Prayer heals people. I'd like to share here a medical miracle which was narrated by Dr. V. Mohan, the famous diabetologist from Chennai. There was a gentleman who had a very bad swollen leg, and that was he was highly diabetic, and the leg, the wound had become septic and gangrene had set in. The doctors waited for a while. When they saw that nothing is improving, they told the gentleman, "We're sorry, but we may have to resort to amputation of your leg." Now, this gentleman was a very ardent Sai devotee. He told Dr. Mohan, "Please give me 1 day." So Dr. Mohan said, "Okay." When we waited for so many weeks, 1 day is okay. They waited. The next morning, when Mohan went to see this gentleman in the hospital, he was sitting up on the bed and he was smiling. And he said, "Dr. Mohan, you don't have to resort to amputation. My leg is perfectly fine." So Mohan was a little confused. What is he saying? Say, "What happened?" He said, "Swami came at night." "Oh, so you had a dream, is it?" No. Swami came personally to the hospital." Dr. Mohan could not believe it because Dr. Mohan himself at that point of time, as he admits it, he was not a very firm devotee of the Lord at that time. So he said, you mean Swami came here to the general ward where so many people are sleeping together? He said, yes, Swami came here and he sat on the bed and he pointed at the position where where Baba came and sat. And Baba stroked my leg, the leg which has had gangrene setting it. And Baba said, don't worry, I will cure you. Everything will be fine. So Dr. Mohan said, what about the other patients in the ward? It was a general ward. He said, but nobody saw Baba. They were all fast asleep. Only I saw Baba and only I spoke to him. So he said, okay, let me see your wound. And lo and behold, when Dr. Mohan opened the bandage, he saw that leg which had got no life at all, there were pink tissues which were now emerging, showing signs of healing and a new life. And within a short time, the gentleman became okay and he was discharged from the hospital without any amputation. So that's how it heals people. Prayer will lower your blood pressure, it will lower your heart pulse, and it will give you better health. It will also enable you to cope with pain. Again, another incident, medical miracle shared by Dr. Mohan. This is regarding a Muslim gentleman who was a middle-aged gentleman and he was a leader of his community in Chennai. This gentleman had undergone a major operation and he was in terrible pain after the operation. So he tells Dr. Mohan, please give me something because I could not sleep at night. I can't continue like this with so much of agony and pain. So Dr. Mohan said, we've given you the strongest medication. I can't give you anything beyond this. But the gentleman said, no, please, you have to give me something. I can't continue like this. So he said, okay, close your eyes. And Dr. Mohan just held his hand and he prayed to Swami. He says, Sai, I surrender to you. I can't do anything beyond this. We've given him the maximum medication. I can't go beyond the dosage which I've given him. He's in utmost pain. So Swami, you please take care of him. I'm surrendering him to you. And immediately he said, okay, you'll be okay. So before the gentleman could ask him what he did, he said, don't worry, you'll be fine. And he left. He told the nurse, if he's in pain, give him an injection. At 10:30 at night, the nurse rings up Dr. Mohan. She said, sir, do I give him an injection? He's fast asleep. So Dr. Mohan said, no, if he's fast asleep, don't wake him up. Next morning, when he went to the hospital, this Muslim gentleman was beaming, sitting on his bed. And he said, I slept like a log. Doctor, the moment you went, I slept and I got up only at 7:30 in the morning. Doctor, what did you do? What miracle did you work? So Dr. Mohan said, I did not do anything. No, doctor, you have done something. How could I sleep like that? So Dr. Mohan thought, yeah, it's time for me to tell him what I did. So he told the Muslim gentleman, I prayed to our Lord Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba at Puttaparthi. I told him that you were in a lot of agony and pain and that he should take care. And that's how your pain must have subsided. And the Muslim gentleman said, oh, Baba is God. Baba is God. You all are so lucky. You all can go to the place, to the ashram and have his blessings. You can see him. But I cannot go. I'm a Muslim. If I go there, I will be ostracized from my community. But I will definitely pray to him every day. And Dr. Mohan gives him Baba's photo and vibhuti. And the gentleman was hale and hearty in a short time. It also helps us in spiritual progress. Faith increases and ego is reduced. There is a little video here which is shared by Ravi Kumar about how Swami was so humble in the interview room when Ravi Kumar was there inside. Let's just hear what happened.
And Swami was humming this bhajan, Hara Hara Shankara Samba Sada Shiva Isha Mahesha. And it was a truly beautiful moment. Me just right there next to Swami, everything else silent and Swami was humming. And suddenly I heard silence again. and I probably had my eyes closed. I don't know, I was quite lost. And I looked at Swami, and Swami looked at me and said, Yemi, what? You know what Swami tells me after that? But I can't sing like you all. And I was blown. I went down, left the saris and held Swami's feet, and Swami, you can't tell us this. The Lord of the universe. And he says, no, I can't sing like you all. And I don't know, it just brings tears to my eyes every time I think how Lord of the universe could come down and say such things. But this is what he teaches us. That if Swami can say such a thing, don't we all have something to learn in life every day? We don't have to think that we have reached the pinnacle of anything. We are all on the way there, yes. But we have to realize that we are all on the way. And there is always something more to reach, something more to get, to achieve. And that something is this purity of heart with love and humility for him. So these Sai Bhajans, which is, Swami says that do this Namasmarana, dig a borewell deep into your heart through Namasmarana and bring out that Sai love. So we are all so lucky that in this age of Kali, Namasmarana, and Swami himself has said in his discourses that there is nothing dearer to me than bhajans. He said, people say that when you go to Prashanti Nilayam, nothing happens there other than bhajans. And Swami said, believe that there is nothing dearer than bhajans for me.
Okay, so that was about ego being reduced and being humble. Prayer also gives us positive thoughts. I am happy. Whatever's happening is for my good. It entitles us to receive God's grace. Now here there's a very moving incident shared by Vinay Kumar. Vinay and his wife were in Parthi. They were leaving. So Vinay tells Baba, Swami, we are leaving. So Baba says, wife is also going with you? So Vinay was a little surprised because they always used to go together. He said, yes, Swami. So they left Parthi in a white Wagoner. And on their way, they met with a head-on collision with a Volvo bus. His wife was thrown out of the car and she was bleeding profusely. She was taken to the Bangalore General Hospital and the doctors there pronounced her dead. They said she's no more. So Vinay was a little stunned. He said, no, it's not possible. Please check again. The doctor said she's become cold. She's not there. So Vinay rang up Puttaparthi, spoke to some elders whom he knew, and he said, please tell Swami this has happened. And Swami said, yes, I know. Tell him to tell the doctors to give her an injection. So Vinay goes and tells the doctor, doctor, please give her an injection. The doctor was stunned. He said, what's wrong with you? There's no life in her. What do you mean give her an injection? He said, Baba has said it. Satya Sai Baba said, give her an injection. And the doctor replies, go and tell your Baba that she is no longer there. But Vinay was not the person to take no for an answer. He said, but give her an injection. What do you lose? The doctor didn't want to continue this argument. So he tells the nurse, give her an injection. The moment the injection was given to that lady, she said, the doctor heard it, Vinay heard it, and they said, see, she's alive. How did you say she's no longer there? He then went to his house in Bangalore the next day. And in the kitchen, he saw glass pieces scattered everywhere. So he asked the lady, the maidservant, he said, how did this glass piece come here? Did you break anything? She said, no, sir, I don't know from where it has come. So he did not know what it was. Anyway, after a few weeks, when she became okay, both of them went to Puttaparthi. On seeing them, Baba went to the lady and he told her, I've given you a new life. You will spend it now in service. And he goes to Vinay and he said, the day of the accident, I was standing there on the road divider waiting for you to call out to me. But you were so much in your own thoughts, in your own stress and anxiety, you did not even remember to call me. But I did my duty. I diverted the entire glass from your windshield to your kitchen. Because if I had not done that, it would have come onto your faces, including the steering wheel, and both of you would have been gone. So when I then understood how the glass pieces had reached his kitchen. So even though he had not prayed to Sai, his previous karma, bank balance of prayer and namasmarana helped him at that time. So we must always be entitled to receive God's grace, and prayer, as I told you, will improve our quality of life, reduce our stress, and give us peace, not only with ourselves, but also peace with others. In prayer, these are the chemicals, the happy chemicals which are released: dopamine, endorphin, oxytocin, serotonin, and then you're always in a blissful state because of prayer. Money is a small coin. Health is a big coin. Love is a lucky coin. Friendship is a sweet coin, but our relationship with God is a gold coin. So always keep it safe. There was this lady called Tulasama who used to stay at Puttaparthi. One day she decided to go to her native place. So she got an auto rickshaw, and he told the auto rickshaw driver that she would like to go to a native place. The auto rickshaw driver deliberately banged the auto rickshaw into a tree. Why? Because she was wearing expensive gold jewelry. He thought it would be very easy to rob her. I'll dash it into the tree. She'll become unconscious. I will take away her ornaments and I'll go away. Nobody will come to know. But see her relationship with God. At that moment, when he crashed the auto rickshaw into the tree, she called out, "Sai Ram," she called out. And though that place was a very desolate place, nobody used to always frequent that area. It was a very isolated place. Suddenly, a car came from nowhere. The gentleman in the car got down from the car. He went and helped not only this lady, but also the driver who was slightly injured, took them to his house and treated them, tended to their wounds. The driver now started thinking that this lady must have been a very pious lady. At that time, she remembered to say Sai Ram. Who would otherwise remember when you're yourself in agony, in trouble, to think of your Lord? So he then confessed. He said, "I'm sorry. I deliberately dashed the auto rickshaw into the car because I thought I could rob her, but please forgive me." He asked the lady to forgive him, and she gladly forgave him. And they later on became very good family friends. He used to always go to her and ask about her welfare. The Sai organization has helped us to do this prayer, Namasparan, and in the Balvika, this is what we have to tell the children, that prayer and Namasmaran is very important because it will increase your faith. It's very beneficial. It was very beneficial during COVID times when we had to have online activities, we had bhajans, we had sharing of experiences. In fact, even my Balvikas class, both school Balvikas and the residential Balvikas was online. So the children have to be taught that prayer is very important. There was a little girl, barely 3 to 4 years old, and there was a temple near her house. She would go running every morning to the temple, close her eyes, say something, and go back running, dancing, very happy, joyful. The pujari used to wonder, she's too small to understand the meaning of religion and prayer. I wonder what she comes here to do. So one day he asked the little girl, "Beti, what do you come here for?" She said, "I come to pray." "And what do you pray?" And she said, "I know A, B, C, D till Z, till Z. So I say the alphabets, and then I tell God that all the prayers are within A to Z. So please choose the alphabets according to your wish." And that is my prayer. And she would say that, she would smile, she would bow down to the deity, and she would go running back. That is the innocence of our children who join Balvikas. So we have to nurture them with love, treat them with a lot of care, because they are very, very tender. And once they realize that Namasmarana, prayer, etc., will play such an important role in their lives, they will make it a point to say their prayers morning, afternoon, evening, and any time of the day. There was also another little boy who used to see his grandfather praying. So one day when the grandfather was not at home, he went to the puja room and he said, God, please take care of grandfather and grandmother, because without them, who will give us chocolates? Take care of mommy and daddy because they look after us. And take care of the doggy because he protects the house. But oh God, please take care of yourself. But if you're not there, what will happen to the whole world? See the innocence, the unconditional belief, and the love which children have in God. So always remain positive, have faith in the Almighty, practice discrimination. You've heard about this, what is right, what is wrong. Attend bhajans, meditate, pray regularly so that you cleanse your soul, control your desires. Desires are unlimited. One desire will lead to the other. So keep away from temptations, perform selfless seva, and always be contented and happy. That in gist is what we should tell our children, that prayer is a very important tool which God has given us. It is a connect between you and God, and always keep this connect alive so that you can receive from him in meditation what he wants to tell you. Om Shri Sai Ram. Thank you very much.
Sai Ram Priya, thank you so much for that very enlightening presentation on prayer. And I'm sure it will become a daily habit with all our new gurus. Thank you so much once again. And now we move on to Sister Sai Sudha S. Kumar, who will be doing Vedas and its importance, because Vedam is a very important topic in the Bal syllabus. And Sai Sudha is an alumnus of the Sri Sathya Sai College of Women, Anandpur. She is also a Sri Sathya Sai Bal Vikas alumnus. And presently, she is the state coordinator for Vedam for Maharashtra West 1. Over to you, Sai Sudha.
Thank you, Sister Devi and Sister Maya. That was a very enlightening and awesome session about prayers and importance of prayers. Sai Ram to all of you. With Bhagwan's grace, now we are into yet another session of New Bal Vikas Gurus training. So let us go to the importance of Vedas. Why should we have Vedas in Bal Vikas? So Vedas has come from the root word Vid. Vid in Sanskrit means to know, and Veda means knowledge. Veda is Anadi and Ananta, means Veda has always been existing. There is no beginning and there is no end for Vedas. Vedas, it is said, is the very life breath of Supreme Self. So right from the beginning, whenever the Paramatma existed, right from then, the Vedas also existed. Paramatma, or the Supreme Self, has no beginning in time and exists forever. So Vedas also, as his life breath, exists with him and has no beginning or end. This is like, Sir Isaac Newton, he discovered about the Earth's gravitational pull. But we cannot say that the gravitational pull existed only after his discovery, right? The attraction, the Earth's power to attract was already existing, and it was only discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. So Vedas, and it is said Vedas are apaurushaya. Apaurushaya means Vedas were not created by anyone. So if Vedas were not created by anyone, how did they come into existence? Now, just as the electromagnetic waves, which are converted into sonic sound waves, cosmic vibrations become audible to these vibrations became audible to rishis who did tapas. Now, how did they connect with these cosmic vibrations? These rishis with their tapas, they connected with these vibrations, the sounds, and that is why these Vedas are called Shruti, because these were all heard. This was in the form of sound which came to the rishis. It was not written by anyone. So that is why Veda is called Shruti. Now the Vedic sounds were revealed to these rishis when they got attuned themselves to receive them. So now when we sit, when we chant Omkaram, what do we do? We chant Omkaram, at the same time we are listening to that Omkaram, that sound, isn't it? So once these rishis with their intense concentration, they could listen to these mantras and they could internalize these mantras. Now, the learning of Vedas, there are some important aspects which are pronunciation, intonation. Then we have other aspects also, out of which pronunciation and intonations are very important. So pronunciation means there are Alpa Pran, Mahapran, all these aksharas are there. These are called Akshara Shuddhi. So for example, there is a saying in Upanishad, Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara. So Satyam Vada, by mistake, if we say Satyam Vada, what happens? The meaning changes. Vada is to speak. Satyam Vada means to speak the truth. And Satyam Vada means to destroy. So this is the power of Akshara. Every Akshara has a different meaning. So if we don't pronounce it properly, the meaning changes. And it will give a different effect. Similarly, the intonation. Intonations are the swara. There is a different intonation for every letter. It is sometimes up, it is sometimes plain, sometimes down. So it is the way it was heard for the rishis. We cannot change the intonation or the pronunciation. This is like in the radio, a slight change in tuning. Previously, we used to use the radio, right? And we were very particular that we want a particular station, that is the news or the olden days, those songs were coming, the Vivid Bharati and all those. So what were we doing? We used to tune to a particular frequency and get the particular station. Now, if to get the desired station, it is necessary to ensure to perfect tuning, isn't it? Otherwise, it will go to some other station. So similarly, to get the complete effect of Veda chanting, we have to be particular that the pronunciation and intonations are right. Now, why is it necessary to chant Vedas? There are so many natural calamities which take place. Why? Because we exploit the nature, right? Nature is always giving us, and human beings are always exploiting nature. So now to correct all these degeneration, we have to spread positive vibrations to regenerate and to correct the balance in nature. For example, now if we throw a pebble into a lake, what happens? The ripples are formed in the lake, right? Which spread till the shore. Then to correct this, what do we do? To stop the ripples, what do we do to make the water still? We have to go to the shore You should just touch the water very slowly. So what happens? The water automatically becomes still, isn't it? So Veda chanting helps to create a balance in the atmosphere by spreading positive vibes. The benefits of Veda chanting at an individual level is chanting improves immunity. This is because of the Akshara Shuddhi, the Aksharas which are based on the Sanskrit Varnamala, and these Mahapran, Alpapran letters, they have very good impact on the health. And these are, nowadays there are so many YouTube videos which shows that scientifically it is proved that all these benefits, in the brain and all different parts of the body, even the lungs. So these are like exercise. The Sanskrit letters are like exercise to human body. So this improves immunity. Then it helps to calm the mind. Then in balancing the chakras, and it increases concentration, memory, and reduces tension and stress, and also keeps the depression at bay, which is very much required for the current generation, the youth especially. So for this, we have to prepare our Balvika's children to get used to chanting Vedam so that they benefit out of chanting Vedam. Now, there is an experience narrated by Professor Dr. Anna Saraswati Konjar. She spoke about her experiences. She narrated this during the Sri Satya Sai International Veda Conference in 2017. Dr. Anna Saraswati is a professor of English and French in the University of Ljubljana, that is in Slovenia. So once when she was traveling, she met with a very serious accident. And due to this accident, she suffered with, she hurt herself, her spine and ribs were broken. She had memory loss. Then she had speech impediments. Her talk was not clear. Then Swami then commanded her to learn Vedam in 2004 when she visited Vrindavan. So Bhagwan told her to learn Vedam. She prayed to Goddess Saraswati and she started learning Medha Suktam. So in spite of trying for 2 weeks, she just couldn't memorize even 2 lines of Medha Suktam. And she thought, no, I will not be able to do it. And she finally gave it up. So she thought she'll not be able to chant Vedam ever in her life. And she thought, no, let me give it up. It so happened that one night, suddenly her husband woke up from his sleep and he said, learn Vedam. And he went back to sleep. So she was wondering what is happening, and of all the people, her husband who didn't even know anything about Vedam, and she was wondering what happened. So next morning when she asked him, why did he say that? He didn't even recollect of having said, that learn Vedam. He was wondering, he said, I have not said this. So then Madam Anna took it to be Bhagwan's command. Once again, thinking that Bhagwan is reminding her and commanding her to learn Vedas, she prayed to Bhagwan himself, and then she started learning Medha Suktam. And finally, with her determination and of course Bhagwan's blessings, she learned Medha Suktam and also Rudram and all other mantras, and now she is teaching Vedam. And her speech is very clear now. So she has mentioned some of the curative effects of chanting Vedam, and she said her pain, which was unbearable for her, that was no more there. Then she regained her memory. Her speech impediments reduced to a large extent and improved her vision. She was born with poor vision, and after the accident, she was wearing a very thick glass. But after starting Vedam with Bhagwan's command, her vision also improved. Then she got cured of vertigo and insomnia. Then as an icing on the cake, Bhagwan himself conferred on her the middle name Saraswati. So that's why her name changed from Anna Konjar to Anna Saraswati Konjar. So this is what happens if we just obey Bhagwan's command. Now, many of us have got this, this doubt whether ladies can chant Veda. So Bhagwan himself has very graciously blessed everyone to chant Veda without any gender, caste, creed discrimination. And this he has mentioned in many of his discourses, and which, it is like published in all the Satya Sai Speaks also, everywhere. It is there that it is very clear that Bhagwan has said that there is no gender, caste, creed discrimination. Then do we have to know the meaning of mantras? Now Swami has given a very beautiful example to this, that a mother sings a lullaby to put the baby to sleep. The baby doesn't understand the meaning. The baby just listens to that lullaby and goes off to sleep. So similarly, and he's also given one more example. When we are unwell and we go to the doctor prescribes some medicines, and he also gives some medicines to us, tablets. We do not ask him, what is the composition of this medicine? We just have faith on that doctor and we have the medicines and we are, of course, cured. Similarly, Bhagwan says that if you chant Vedam even without knowing the meaning, it will give you the same effect. Then, of course, once we learn, if we try to understand the meaning, then it will resonate within us, just like bhajans. When we know the meaning of bhajans and we sing bhajans, that devotion is like, it's much more than singing without knowing the meaning of bhajan. Similarly, Veda also, if we try to understand the meaning, it is beneficial, but Bhagwan has said that it is not necessary. Now, will listening to Veda suffice? Yes, the sound vibrations, as we saw, will definitely purify the surroundings. Now, there was an experiment conducted in Sri Satya Sai Higher Secondary School. There, what happened was they kept two plants in two different classrooms, and they provided with same amount of water, sunlight, and all other resources for the plant to grow. The only difference was one set of plants was ever exposed to Gayatri Mantra, and the other set of plants was exposed to rock music. Okay, so then after a few days, when it was observed that the set of plants exposed to Gayatri Mantra grew and started flowering. This is regeneration. And what happened to the other set? The set of plants exposed to rock music wilted. This is degeneration. So this is the power of Veda chanting or prayers or bhajans or devotional chanting or singing, sorry. And this is already proved in our Sri Satya Sai Higher Secondary School. Now, to what Bhagwan has said about Vedas, even if you cannot chant Vedas, if you listen to the sounds of devotion, sounds with devotion, they will elevate you to a higher level. Though the child does not know the meaning of the lullaby sung by the mother, it is induced to sleep hearing the tune. Similarly, listening to the chanting of the Vedas with undivided attention will give you immense benefits. The hymns of the Vedas constitute the cosmic sound, that is Nada Brahman, which is highly potent. This was in the discourse Bhagwan gave on 18th October 1993. A regular study of Vedas and the practice of their teachings confer all forms of wealth. The Vedas are a gift of God for the welfare of entire humanity. So it is always said that Veda chanting is for Loka Kalyanam. It is not for individual benefit. The Vedas make no distinction on the basis of religion, caste, or nationality. The Veda mantras can be chanted by one and all. It is Swami's wish that Vedas spread to every country so that every human being, irrespective of religion, caste, or nationality, learn and chant Vedam. This was said by Bhagwan himself during the Atirudra Mahayagna in August 2006. Now, there is one more saying by Bhagwan. I mean, there's one more this on what Bhagwan has said in Purna Chandra Hall in 1987 on 28th of September. Every individual should take a pledge. It's not enough if we only learn and chant. So what should we do once we learn? Every individual should take a pledge to nourish the Vedas on the right lines. The welfare of the nation and the prosperity of the world are dependent on Vedas. There is an urgent need to take concerted methods to provide the resources and the encouragement for the propagation of Vedic studies. The Vedas are a means of establishing a link with the divine. Those who have studied the Vedas must dedicate their lives to promoting and fostering the knowledge of the Vedas. Yes, of course, we don't have that much knowledge how the Ritviks used to learn, staying in the Gurukulam for 12 years, 13 years. But we are so grateful to Bhagwan that he has given us this opportunity to learn Vedas. And he also says, once you learn Vedas, we have to also teach the others. So this is what Bhagwan has said. And with this, I would like to close this. I'm very thankful to Devi sister for having given this opportunity. Saira. Thank you.
Saira, Sai, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation on Vedas. And I request all the new gurus to, learn Vedas, and Sai and her team are there to teach Vedas to whoever is interested. And not only teaching children, but as gurus, we can also learn Vedas. Thank you so much, Saira. Yes, Rama.
Yeah, I mean, they had not unmuted me. Oh, fine. Yeah.
Sairam, we come to the last topic of today, and that is the importance of Indian culture. And for that, we have Sister Rama Sampath, who is the editor of the Sri Satya Sai Bal Vikas magazine. And she is also a faculty of the National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation. And so we have Sister Rama, who is a very prolific speaker, and this will be the last talk of the day. So we meet tomorrow at the Sairam.
Sairam, my most humble pranams to the Bhagwan seated in all your hearts. Well, as Sister Devi said, Indian culture and spirituality. Why is it so important for us to have Indian culture as part of the curriculum for children? Because as Bhagwan often says, we have to start early, drive slowly, and reach safely. I remember when we had this interview with Bhagwan in the 1990s, Bhagwan had told us, the Bal Vikas teachers, when somebody asked Bhagwan, how do we bring about transformation in the children? Swami said, all you have to do is to tell them stories from the lives of great men, from the lives of saints, and transformation is my job. So it is for us Bal Vikas Gurus to do our homework and research and fill our children's lives with the stories of great men and saints who are the real role models for the children. And when we talk about culture, first let us find out what is culture. Culture is the way we talk, the way we dress, the food that we eat, the festivals that we celebrate, the religion that we follow, everything is culture. In fact, Bhagwan says, culture is a way of life. And culture comes from spirituality. And what is spirituality? Spirituality is a very big term, but it is nothing but a spirit of love. And love that is permanent, that does not change. So, in short, there can be no culture without love. In fact, culture is also defined in Sanskrit as Sanskriti. What is the meaning of Sanskriti? Sanskriti in English means refinement. In other words, it means removing all our bad qualities and making ourselves pure. That is Sanskriti. Refinement is Sanskriti. Now, Bhagwan has got beautiful ways to teach us things. We are all familiar with how character is so very important. You must have heard how the 5 values, the 5 basic values, and good conduct, all these are extremely essential for us. But Bhagwan speaks about national character. He says national character is as important as individual character. What is national character? National character means patriotism, love for one's motherland. And what is patriotism? He goes on to elaborate further. He says patriotism is nothing but pride about our past is one component. It should begin with pride about our past. Secondly, it is ambition for the future greatness of the country. Thirdly, it is attachment to the nation, love for the nation. Fourth, it is love for the language, love for our mother tongue. And last but not the least, it is also what we pay back to the society, what we pay back to the nation. Gratitude for the nation that has shaped us, the society that has shaped us. So all this together comprise patriotism. So patriotism is very easily understood as love for one's country. But Bhagwan has given us a step-by-step way as to how to go about getting patriotic. Now, what is this pride about the past? and extremely sorry to say that our knowledge of the kings who ruled us, the history, the real history, is totally dismal. Why is it so in our country? It is because it is always said a country that has been invaded by the Mughals and then the Britishers. So it is always the invaders who have written the history. So what comes out to us is nothing short of filth. So the real history is what they chose to destroy. That is why the Nalanda University was burnt. Why did they take care of that? They did not want any knowledge to reach the future generation. They wanted us to believe that we are slaves. They do not want us to realize how powerful we Bharatiyas are. So it is time now, teachers, for us first to do our research into the noble kings who ruled us. The great Maharana Pratap, we have heard more of Akbar than of Maharana Pratap. In fact, it is now corrected that the Battle of Haldikat was actually won by Maharana Pratap. Because the logic says that if Akbar had actually won the battle, seen that even subsequently that he has attacked Maharana Pratap so many times. So why should a king who has actually conquered another king go on attacking him? So now the history stands corrected that Maharana Pratap won the battle of Haldi. So it is not only about battles. Our kings were noble kings. Now, when we talk about Ashoka, once the great emperor Ashoka, he saw a monk seated beneath a tree, and he went down on his feet and laid his head on the feet of the monk. So the ministers who were with him were horrified. They said, this is not it. The king you cannot bow down to any ordinary mortal this way. You are the emperor. So Ashoka ordered for the 3 heads to be brought. He said, you get me a head of a goat, a head of a tiger, and a head of a man. So with great difficulty, some remnants in the cremation ground, they managed to get a skull and the head of the goat and the head of the tiger. He said, now try and sell these heads. It was found that the head of the goat and the head of the tiger immediately had takers. But there were no takers for the head of man. So he said, imagine, this is the value of the head of a man once he's dead. So don't you think so that while we are alive, we should use our body for beneficial purposes? And I want to touch the feet of any saint or monk so that I do not miss out a real one. So this shows of the reverence that we need to show to elders, which is an integral part of our Bharatiya culture. Okay, I was still concentrating on the first component, which is pride in the past. Take the Chola kings. You would find the Chola kings at that time commanded such great importance. So not only in India, but internationally as well. And we should also focus on temples that were constructed. The temples are the greatest legacy of these kings. And temples are not merely some carvings in the stone. They are places of immense potency. That is why even Bhagwan Baba, has gone to several temples and he has recharged the idols there. So it is very important for us to be talking about the glorious temples across our land. In fact, we are quite keen to take a holiday out, but there are so many, nothing wrong with it, but there are so many places inside India of such great historical importance that we should take the children. So we have to talk about this in the class. We have to educate the parents. I have parents who tell me it's very important, ma'am, that you have told the child that you need to go out on tours within the country. Because otherwise, when we tell them, they say, no, it's boring. So they say it's boring, but it's for them to go and see, which will leave you in awe of the wonders, the great Brihadishwara temple in Tanjore. See the huge structures, and in those days, in fact, there were no cranes. In fact, it is a matter of great marvel as to how such structures were placed on top. The Vimana, the structure of the temple, were placed. So every temple has got its sanctity, its potency. Hence the reason that we should make it a part of our holiday tours to take the children or to inspire the children. When I say as a parent, we should make it a part of our holiday tours to see these temples. And as teachers, we need to talk about it. Fill them with interest, fill them with curiosity, so that they are motivated to tell their parents, Papa, come on, take me there. My teacher has spoken about this. I want to see. We should generate that much of interest in our own culture. And these temples are an integral part of our culture. When we say pride in the past again, there are so many unknown freedom fighters whom we do not know about. Have you ever heard of Rani Appakka Chauta? You would have never heard about her. Time does not permit me to tell in detail, but to tell you in short. She was a lady who ruled the port town of Ullal, and she saw to it that it was the time when the Portuguese had first landed, Vasco da Gama, and the Portuguese landed, and how they quickly captured the ports and started trading in our products. So what did she do? In fact, they captured even Mangalore. They captured all the port towns. And when they tried to tease her, when they tried to make her a slave by telling her you have to pay a tax, she said, nothing doing. Why should I pay tax in my own land? Such was the courage of the women of the past. And she went on. When they sent troops to capture her, she ambushed them. And it is said that she went on to capture the town of Mangalore, retrieved it from the Portuguese. And it is said that as long as she was there, Portuguese could never get control. Sadly, as it happens even today, it is our own Indians who are our enemies. Enemies, we don't have to look for enemies from out. They're all here within our own country. It is said her own husband was a traitor. So he saw to it that the Rani was captured. Otherwise, there was nothing to stop her, but not before that she had actually totally demolished the Portuguese, a lady, single-handedly. She did it. And yes, one more thing that we need to remember is the glory of the past. The glory of the past should not be confined to books. Now, you don't even find it in books. That's why we need to do a lot of research. these may not be part of our syllabus. It is for us to churn up all these things and talk about these things in the class. Because syllabus that is given to us is only a means to the end. Nobody tells you, you don't do this. It is for us to take interest, read a lot, and come up with these things that can tickle the curiosity of the children about our own country. And this is for pride about the past, which I have actually put it in a very nutshell. We also should have ambition for the future greatness of the country. It is very important, says Swami. What is this ambition for the future greatness of the country? This is that each of us should contribute to nation building. That is a very, very big term, you may think. But these things can be done in a very, very small, trivial way, even by children. How do we contribute to nation building as a child? Yes, by abiding by cleanliness. If we want a country that is clean, Swachhata is Divyata. So if we want a country that is clean, it has to start from one's childhood. So these are little things. Explore. You ask the children, they will come out with wonderful things. When you ask them, how would you like to contribute to building our Bharat? You won't even imagine the wonderful answers that they come up with. Because patriotism should not be confined only to Republic Day and Independence Day. It has to be in our blood. Talk to them about real life heroes. Tell me how many of them. We all know the 26/11 incident. The terrorists who captured the entire city of Mumbai. But tell me, the terrorist Kasab is very, very famous. But how many children you find out? How many children who knows the person who captured this Kasab? The constable Tukaram Ombole, who captured Kasab alive, he is a shaheed. Okay, he gave up his life. He knew very well. He was single-handed. He did not have any modern weapons to counteract, and he knew that he would be killed. That did not stop him from holding on to Kasab. So we should be talking about these real-life heroes. Major Unnikrishnan, these are some of the names that I'm taking, who played a great role in the capture of the Taj. In that, how he played a great role in freeing many of the guests who were staying there. He was also martyred. So our children should know about the sacrifice of our soldiers, the Pulwama incident, and the people who were martyred, the Kargil Divas. All this will have to be discussed in the class. This is extremely important for us to understand that while we sleep in the comfort of our homes, it is the soldiers who are guarding our borders who are actually responsible for our comfort and luxury. Well, all of us cannot be soldiers guarding the borders. But we have other ways in which we can contribute to nation building. The third thing that Baba says is affection for the nation. He says, love for the nation. There can be no compromise for this. We all know devotion is what is devotion? Love for God and all his creation. The Bharatiya culture says kinship with all, oneness of all beings, and the universality of God. Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism is one religion that has accepted all religions in the cradle of Bharat. That is why the Zoroastrianism, how is it conceived of? We welcome them into our land. And the Parsis are the very, very peace-loving human beings. And they have contributed so much to society. Take the case of right from Zorabji Tata, Jayadi Tata, and now it goes on to Ratan Tata. The Tatas have contributed so much for the nation. So, the principle of Sanatana Dharma is we need to respect every religion. Sanatana Dharma has never come in the way of any other religion. The tolerance that Sanatana Dharma advocates. But that does not mean that this should be misconstrued as a weakness. Our children should know our ethics. We speak about the Ramayana, Mahabharata, the way Bhagavan has told us. How did the Mahabharata war happen? Was Krishna a warmonger? No. There was a breach in Dharma. And Krishna had to tell the Pandavas to take up arms against their own kith and kin. Why? Because Kauravas were seen as those cancerous cells which had to be destroyed. And the same thing applies even today. We have to be respectful towards all religion, but we should be proud practitioners of our own religion. In fact, if you are a Hindu, you need to be a better Hindu, says God. If you are a Muslim, you need to be a better Muslim. If you are a Christian, you need to be a better Christian. So going by this reminder, what stops us? You see the Christian. They go for the Sunday Mass very, very regularly. For them, it is mandatory. What about the Muslims? They never miss their namaz. But Sanatana Dharma has given us a very long rope. It has told us what is good, what is not good, how do we go about it, we've given us several choices, how we can reach God. But that does not mean that we don't follow anything at all. What is important is that we should not be shy of practicing Sanatana Dharma. Tell me, how many of our children, see, we have to dress appropriately for the occasion. But how many of our children will even sport this vibhuti? Let us say that we are calling them, I'm not even telling anywhere else, even when we come to Dharmakshetra, okay, we are all coming from outside, but we feel we are not comfortable putting the vibhuti on our forehead. But you see, the same vibhuti, everybody will put before an exam. You see the chess master, he was Ramesh Babu Prajnananda, right? The chess master, chess grandmaster, you see what is so unique about him is you can't miss the vibhuti on his forehead. All the time there is this vibhuti prominently on his forehead. In other words, this is sort of telling that I'm not shy to practice my religion. Why should I be shy to practice my religion, to celebrate my festivals. So we need to be practitioners of Sanatana. That is very, very important. For that, it is important for us to explain to the children the festivals, the significance of all the festivals. They are all the legacy that has been left behind. What is the significance of every little thing? Right from we hold our hands. This has caught up with the world in the times of the pandemic COVID. People stopped shaking hands. And what stood out was what the Bharatiyas practiced. Namaste. Namaha te. I salute the God in you. That is the inner significance, because every one of us is Divya Atma Swarupa. We are embodiments of the divine Atma. And there is a significance behind every little thing that we do. In ancient times, we used to have beautiful rangolis. I remember my grandmother used to make the most beautiful rangoli. This had to be done on the road. Used to make it with a rice flour. That is how we all used to make it in ancient times. Now we've started sticking stickers. Why was it done? This my grandmother used to make when they used to bring the gods from the temples, used to be carried around. So invariably there was a halt in several points, and my grandmother used to make these beautiful rangolis. You see the ants feeding on this rice flour. The little sparrows which pick up these rice flour. So Sanatana Dharma took care of every little creation. Why do we have this plantain leaves as torans? There is a significance. Science has proved that even after you detach it from the tree, they are very good sources for, the plants. We inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. So they take in carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is one thing that has to go out from our atmosphere to, in fact, climate change is all about CO2. So our ancient Indians had a way of life that took care of all these things. There was a balance in nature, balance in life, and balance in one's own personality. Now all that has gone for a toss with advancement in science and technology. So I just spoke about a few practices. I would like you all budding gurus to list out the significance of several things. Why do we do the Aarti? Why do we actually chant the Gayatri Mantra? For all you people, to put it very, very brief, the Gayatri Mantra was given to us by the sage Vishwamitra. He was actually King Kaushika. And when he was King Kaushika, he had the arrogance of a Kshatriya. Arrogance that he was invincible and he could conquer anything by his weapons. Till he met sage Vasishta. Sage Vasishta had this Kamadhenu. Kamadhenu, the wish-fulfilling cow. And King Kaushika was obsessed with this. He said, I need to have this at any cost. He sent his soldiers to attack Vasishta. And saw to his dismay, from Kamadhenu emerged a whole army which defeated his army. He could not take Kamadhenu away from Sage Vasishta. At that point of time, he realized that his yantra shakti was nothing compared to the mantra shakti. And he gave up being King Kaushika and he said, I will do penance and I will get this mantra shakti. That is how King Kaushikeya, it all started with it. But you know how it is. We are always lured by God for some reason and finally we become seekers of truth. So King Kaushika became sage Vishwamitra and this Gayatri mantra has been given to us by sage Vishwamitra. It is the most powerful one. So we need to ensure that our children, we and their families practice this. So like that, there are a lot of things in our culture. You heard this beautiful talk on Vedas. Yes, Vedas is nothing but an encyclopedia of science, medicine, technology, name it. Sage Bharadvaja was actually the one who contributed to developing those. He was one who excelled in those aerial vehicles. The Pushpa Vimanas, the aircrafts made by humans came later on. But this was already done in the Vedic age. Charaka, who was a great practitioner of medicine. And Sushruta was the surgeon here. He was the father of surgery. And we have Aryabhatta who contributed to the astronomy. So everything had its origin in the Vedas. And that is what we fail to see, what all the Vedas contribute, apart from our own well-being. In fact, Vedas have contributed so much to our rich culture, but what has happened? All these, like I told you, the invaders. It has so happened, all these have been buried, and now it has been patented by the West as to the different people who have discovered. But you go behind each discovery and you will realize that much before this, all these discoveries were actually made in the Vedic age. So this is all about pride about the past and ambition for the future greatness of the country will begin with contribution to nation building and future greatness of the country. I remember this incident when Lal Bahadur Shastri was the Prime Minister, and at that time it was 70-71, the Indo-Pak War. And he went on, you know, it was tough times. India was not self-sufficient at that time. And in food, so in food production, and he went on to request the Indians that everybody should actually skip one meal, okay, till the war gets over so that we are not short of food. The United States of America at that time was twisting India's hand, you know, and so we had tough times. And there was this young man, Vivek Kranti. He decided, he was part of the audience. He was a little boy then, not a little boy, a youngster you can call. And when he heard this appeal of the Prime Minister, he took it very seriously. And he goes on to say that he never gave this up, that is skipping one meal once a week. And he said he had taken an oath, he will do it till India became self-sufficient. And he goes on to say his dream came true when India sent a plane load of relief material for the Katrina, the Hurricane Katrina had actually struck US, Florida. So at that time, India, you know how India is. Even today, we should be proud as Bharatiyas that we have actually helped the different countries during the time of the pandemic. We have shared the vaccines with so many less developed countries. And that is why we believe in taking care of everybody. So this young man later on became an IIT professor. So, and he says that it was a matter of great self-satisfaction when India became self-sufficient, and that we actually started helping other countries. So this is a sort of an ambition for the future greatness of the country. See, all this young man dreamed of was that India should become self-sufficient one day. And mother tongue, love for the language is so very important. See, Bhagwan speaks only in Telugu. Okay, it does not mean for God, language is no barrier. Why does he speak in his mother tongue? It is something we need to emulate. It has become a fashion to say, I don't know my mother tongue. But I tell you, just because we are convent educated does not mean that we should not know our mother tongue. I myself have not studied my mother tongue. But my mother used to tell me, at those times there were no WhatsApps, there were no mobiles, okay, there were no emails. She used to tell me, Amma does not know English. So how will you write to Amma when you grow up? You want to write to me or no? So I used to be very interested. Yes, Mama. Yes, Amma, I want to write to you. So she said, then you should learn the language that I know. I know only Tamil. So you should learn Tamil. This was the motivation. This motivated me so much that I learned to write, I learned to read, and I learned to speak it. Not only at home, but you know that I have performed in several programs as a child artist in Tamil, apart from the language of communication, English at school. So it's very important for us to learn our mother tongue. This has to be shared with the parents, that they should talk to their children, not in English at home or not in any other language, but in your mother tongue. That is how we can motivate the children to learn the mother tongue. And paying back to society. Swami says gratitude. That's very important. Gratitude to the nation. And for this, I would like to actually tell you a small capsule as to how we can divide this what is Bharatiya culture all about at the individual level, at the family level, at the society level, at the nation level, and at the universal level. At the individual level, practice of Bharatiya culture is nothing but Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara. We start by abiding by truth, and then we go to seek the truth behind everything. Kindle the spark of inquiry, truth, and righteousness. When your thoughts are filled with love, you have truth. When your actions are filled with love, you have righteousness. And when your heart is filled with love, you have the feeling of peace. And when there is love in your understanding, you have non-violence. What is this understanding? This understanding that God is present in every creation. When this understanding dawns on us, will we ever hurt anything or anyone? So that is the understanding that we should see. Love as understanding is non-violent. So now, at the individual level, practice of these things is Bharatiya culture. Our right from Harishchandra, like our ancient kings, They were all practitioners of truth, righteousness. Take the case of Rani Ahalyabai Holkar. She was a Rani who actually is known for, she was the force behind the construction and renovation of several temples in the land that were actually desecrated by the invaders, like the Mughals. She saw to it and put in great efforts to see that all these were reconstructed back. What a great effort. This, and the chief among that being the Kashi Vishwanath temple. The Kashi Vishwanath temple, in fact, recently when the Prime Minister had inaugurated it, he spoke about Ahilyabai. And Ahilyabai was such a righteous lady, talking about Satyam Vadar and Dharmam Chara. When her own son was caught with having misbehaved with a woman, she summoned him in the court. And you know what she told him? She said, "You will not do my last rites. I do not want a child who does not respect and honor a woman to do my last rites." And when her own husband used to bring back after having, after having conquered any nation, bringing back the treasury, the treasures, she would say it should go to the treasury because it is for the nation. While he will say, no, it belongs to us. She was very firm. She said, nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to the nation and the subject. So we had such kings and queens. So Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara at the individual level. At the family level, what is Bharatiya culture? It is practicing this simple thing, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. Other words, honoring our parents. Honoring our parents while they are alive, taking care of them is so very important. It is not merely remembering them on Mother's Day and Father's Day. This has to be repeated time and again in the class. Children should be made aware of the sacrifices parents make. That is Bharatiya culture. Revering one's parents, revering the teacher, revering the guest is Bharatiya culture. At the society level, what is Bharatiya culture? It is Paropakaraya Punyaya. In other words, doing seva, which Bhagwan says. Manav seva is Madhav seva. Seeing God in every creation and rising to the occasion to be of help. Help ever, hurt never. Is summed up, the entire crux of the Vedas is summed up in this one beautiful quotation of Bhagwan. So this is at the society level. At the national level, what is Bharatiya culture? It is Janani Janma Bhumischa Swargatapi Gariyas. Love for mother and motherland. Mother and motherland are greater than heaven itself. When Sri Ram was asked to rule over Lanka after winning it, because it was prosperous, because it was green, because it was beautiful, he said, will I neglect my mother because she is not good looking? I will rule over the good. So this love and reverence is Bharatiya culture at the national level, love for motherland. At the universal level, what is it? Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. It is nothing but ensuring peace and harmony at the universal level. And what will help us in this is practice of the five, the Panchamaha Bhutas that have been given by Sanatana. What are these Panchamaha Yagnas? Panchamaha Yagnas is what we need to practice. I'll make it simple for you. The first is talks about this has to be practiced in everyday life. You will see it's not difficult. Deva Yagna is all about worshipping God. Whether you're worshipping in Him in your sanctum sanctorum at home, in the temple, whether you visit temples, all these, when you take time out to worship God, worshipping God in every creation as well. This is Deva Yagna. Rishi Yagna is nothing but reading good scriptures, but starting with our Vedas, nothing beyond Vedas, our ancient scriptures, and all that is said in this. So giving time to these is practicing Rishi Yagna. Then we have Pitru Yagna, is revering, not only doing all those rites after your parents die or for your ancestors. What is it that we contribute to them? How do we show our love to them while they are alive? That is Pitru Yagna. Parents, grandparents will never be forgotten. This has to be drilled into the children. Deva Yagna, Rishi Yagna, Pitru Yagna. Bhuta Yagna is the wonderful tradition we have in Bharat about taking care of all the creation. All the animals, the birds, our festivals are all speaking about this. Sankranti is, you see, the all the farmers, whatever the farmer takes help from all creation around. So the farmer reveres the bullocks and all those animals who help him. So it is important for us to at least begin by, even see the hot days are coming now, to keep a bowl of water for the sparrows, for the dogs, giving something to the cows. All these things are part of our culture. That is Bhuta Yagna. And last but not the least is Atithi Yagna. Atithi is a guest. So is it taking care of the guests only who come to your place? Who is a guest? Bhagavan says beautifully, anybody who needs your help and attention is your guest. So don't confine it to somebody who knocks at your door. So this is Bharatiya culture, extending our love and reverence to every creation, and summed up very beautifully in our Panchamaha Yagnas, which is part of our syllabus. So I will conclude now by saying that it is very important for us to be practitioners of all these, to do our research and homework. The sky is the limit. The more you research, you will see how interesting it is to read from the lives of great men and to share it with the children, and to do all the festivals with the significance, discuss it in the class. So important to discuss every festival with the right significance. Our saints, the lives of saints is extremely important. So with this, I would like to end this session by saying that unless we are proud of our culture, unless that we carry this legacy, you know what, it is going to be lost, because our children grow up without knowing anything about our culture. And when they grow up, they are brainwashed by other people. So they end up believing that there is nothing in our culture and those Western cultures are much better. We do not want to produce children who go on to raise slogans like Bharat Tere Tukde Tukde Ho. We want to raise children who are patriots, who will give their all to the nation. And that is the role that we assume as Bharvikas. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam Rama, thank you so much. It was a real eye-opener, I think, for all the gurus here. I mean, I don't think many of us knew many of the things which you were mentioning. And so it was a really enriching presentation. So thank you so much, and thank each one of you for attending this online session. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you at Dharmakshetra for the second half of this training session tomorrow. Please be on time. We will start sharp at 2 p.m. and we'll wind up by 5. So please come there at least 10 to 15 minutes early. And if you have not signed the pledge which you were supposed to sign, you could bring it along with you and give it to us, or you can email it to us. So looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you so much, Simon. Now we can continue.
श्रीनारायण तु पुरुषोत्तम गुरुतु सिद्धबुद्ध तु स्कन्दविनायक सविता पावक तु सविता पावक तु ब्रह्ममस्तु यह्वशक्ति तु येषु पिता प्रभुतु रुद्रविष्णु तु रामकृष्ण तु रहीमतावतु रहीमतावतु वासुदेव गोविष्णुरूप तु चिदानन्द हरितु अद्वितीय तु अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिङ्ग शिव तु आत्मलिङ्ग शिव तु आत्मलिङ्ग शिव तु
समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।